This presentation is titled Isolated Individuals, Environmental and Cultural Factors by Ryan Cooley and Haley Christiansen. This population is further broken down into elderly, individuals living alone, and individuals living in rural areas. The media usually portrays this population as poorly educated farmers who live in rundown homes. Although poverty is an issue in this population, most rural people do live a middle-class lifestyle. Nearly one-fifth of all rural children are poor, and rural poverty rates average 14.2%, or about 3% points higher than those in metro areas. The inaccuracies placed on this population do pose a great risk of being misunderstood because many believe that it is easier to be poor while living rurally. However, effects of poverty, like poor health and poor housing, are just as corrosive for people who live on farms or in small towns. This population is about 50-50 on family support. Some have good relationships with their family while others do not. Family support can provide access to and from health care appointments. It can boost boost the immune system and improve mental health. Lack of family support can cause depression and isolation, and it can increase the risk of health disparities. Peers do play an important role in healthcare outcomes for this population. When the isolated individual experiences health problems, they may require extra help from those surrounding them. For living people, they may need to travel long distances and possibly stay overnight to receive adequate health care. When poverty is also an issue, peer support becomes crucial. Resources such as babysitters, transportation, and organizing fundraisers are vital to this population, as with elderly living alone. They also benefit from friendly neighbors that check in, meal services, and transportation as well. The cyclical nature of this population is that most couples do not pass away at the same time, and living spouses may need to live alone or instead of moving to an assisted living or group home. Although some do move away, many children that grow up in the rural community tend to stay and live in the same area as adults. There are services and programs in place that are available to help this population, such as the Utah Department of Human Services and Aging and Adult Services and the Rural Health Information Hub. Both websites provide information on resources, educational seminars, and programs that will benefit this population. There are also programs that serve nationally and internationally. The stigmas that arise when working with isolated individuals include the idea that they are poor, unintelligent, and want to be kept to themselves. It is important as healthcare providers that we build bridges over these barriers. These individuals are not likely to be shunned by their communities in the international scope. Although many international rural areas may need assistance acquiring life-sustaining amenities such as running clean water, programs like Crossroads Global Hand provide services to these vulnerable populations. People in lower socioeconomic statuses might not be able to afford health care. Individuals living in rural areas may not have enough money and time to get away from their job, travel to surrounding cities to receive health care. Elderly are typically put on Medicare so that they have access. However, they might not have a source of transportation. This makes it hard for them to not only afford health care, but also receive it. African Americans are 2 times more likely than white Americans of acquiring certain health issues such as hypertension. It is important for young African Americans to receive prevention education. When living rurally, these young individuals may not have the ability to receive this education and may not be within reach of getting treatment. Religion can also affect health outcomes. 81% of studies showed that religion benefits health. Positives that can come from religion include producing happiness, reducing anxiety and depression, and shows less heart disease. Negatives include that there are religious restrictions on certain treatments. For example, Jehovah's Witnesses cannot receive blood products. Women usually have an easier time creating relationships and friendships than men, which can improve mental health, especially for individuals living isolated. Men are also more likely to experience adverse health outcomes than women, such as aortic aneurysms. The geographical location is a barrier to these individuals. Individuals living in rural areas may be several hundred miles away from quality healthcare services. Not only does travel time take longer, they may also not have any transportation at all. Um, they may also not have the financial support or time allowed to take work off and also have childcare to watch their other kids while they're at their treatment. They will definitely benefit from telehealth and telemedicine. This includes mobile healthcare vans that will travel to them to provide certain health screenings. It was also shown that individuals living rurally were less likely to have a mental health care provider than those living in the metropolitan area. Because of this, mobile healthcare vans would be beneficial for them to have a mental health care provider on board as well. We, as metropolitan living healthcare providers, may implicitly believe that these individuals living in isolated areas want to be left alone. Because we believe that, we may explicitly leave them alone and not visit them. Like I have said before, it is important that we reach out to these isolated individuals because, as we have seen, creating relationships with them greatly benefits their health outcomes. Any individual living alone or in rural areas, no matter the region, are going to have less influence on health because they are less involved in the healthcare system. This can be due to two things, either lack of access to healthcare or lack of education about the system. And here are our references.